All right, let's just jump right into this explainer. Look, if you've been feeling that creeping, almost suffocating anxiety around the AI arms race lately, that nagging feeling that you're falling behind literally every time a new model drops, well, you are absolutely not alone. Honestly, it feels like a full-time job just keeping up with the news, let alone the actual tech. But today, we're tackling that feeling head-on. We're going to completely shift our mindset. We really need to step off that hamster wheel of frantically chasing every single software update and instead focus on cultivating our true career moat. We are talking about why domain judgment fundamentally beats tools and how you can build a career that an algorithm simply cannot replace.
I recently came across this incredibly powerful story from a leadership workshop that just perfectly captures this collective anxiety we're all feeling right now. The facilitator was talking with a highly experienced senior project manager. We're talking about someone with 14 years of deep experience, an incredibly strong track record. Someone who had even proactively gone out and gotten 3 recent AI certifications. Yet, despite all those credentials, she asked this very quiet, almost vulnerable question. She asked, am I future-proofing my career, or am I just keeping up? It's the kind of question that just stops you in your tracks, isn't it? Because, let's be real, deep down, that's the exact question most of us are quietly asking ourselves.
And the thing is, there is a massive, fundamental difference between those two paths. Keeping up? Well, that just means learning what's new. It puts you on this perpetual treadmill where the finish line just keeps moving further and further away. Future-proofing, on the other hand, means building what is irreplaceable. Right now, the vast majority of professionals are stuck sweating it out on that treadmill. They're hyper-focused on keeping up, but very, very few are focusing on the deep, structural work of future-proofing. Building what's irreplaceable means stepping back from all the shiny new features and really looking at the core human value you bring to the table every single day.
So I want to challenge you with a fundamental question, and I want you to really genuinely think about this for a second. What do you bring that AI cannot replicate? We've got to pivot away from the exhausting panic of needing to master every single new AI tool that drops on a random Tuesday, and instead look really closely at our own intrinsic value. Think about it. When the playing field of technical capability is completely leveled, what makes you stand out?
Because if you focus exclusively on mastering the tools themselves, you fall straight into what experts call the tool trap. This is when you invest all your time and energy into a capability that AI will always inevitably exceed, rather than building the depth that AI actually needs to be useful. Think about it. You spend your entire weekend watching tutorials to become highly proficient at some new tool, you build these incredibly complex, amazing workflows, and then boom, a new model drops 3 days later that does the whole shebang natively. Your entire weekend of hard work? Completely obsolete. Trying to stay one step ahead by just learning tools is a race we humans are literally guaranteed to lose, simply because the machine learns them faster.
There's this incredible anecdote that perfectly highlights the real-world impact of avoiding this trap. Imagine a hiring manager interviewing 2 candidates for a senior role. Candidate 1 is an absolute technical wizard, right? Fluent in 10 different AI tools, can demo each of them flawlessly on the spot. They can build the machine perfectly. Candidate 2, however, only knows 2 AI tools. But, and here's the kicker, they have 12 years of deep, nuanced experience in the specific industry they're being hired for. Candidate 2 understands the unwritten rules of the organization, they know the complex stakeholder dynamics, and they actually grasp the historical context of the market. Candidate 1 could build the machine, sure, but Candidate 2 actually knew where to steer it. Guess what? Candidate 2 was hired immediately.
So the crucial takeaway here is simple but profound. Tools are learnable, context is not. An AI model can ingest a literal mountain of data and spit out 10 incredibly smart, highly logical strategic options in a matter of seconds. But you know what it can't do? It cannot tell you which of those 10 options is actually going to work for your specific organization's quirky culture, or your extremely tight budget, or your current team's fragile morale. It doesn't know that the VP of sales absolutely hates a specific phrasing, or that a nearly identical strategy failed spectacularly 3 years ago. Only you have that context. And this introduces a massive paradigm shift in how we think about our professional value. Traditionally, we're super used to valuing domain knowledge, which is basically just having information about a specific field. We've built entire education systems around accumulating knowledge. But today, AI has domain knowledge in absolute abundance. It has read the entire internet. What it fundamentally lacks is domain judgment. It just doesn't know what to actually do with that vast amount of information in a real, messy, human context.
Let's define this clearly, because cultivating this judgment is your ultimate career mode. Domain judgment is knowing which information matters, when it matters,
for whom it matters, and what to do about it based on years of being present in real situations. It is the synthesis of all your tough projects, your failures, and your hard-won lessons. For example, it's knowing that even though the raw data clearly says, hey, launch the new product right now, the sales team is just way too burned out from the last quarter to execute properly, so you make the tough call to delay by a week. No algorithm is ever going to tell you that. That is human judgment.
So how do we actually structure our careers around this new reality? Well, it builds into this ideal framework for the AI era, the T-shaped professional. Just picture a capital T in your mind. Your vertical bar? That's your depth. This is your deep industry expertise, your nuanced organizational context, and the actual human relationships you've built over the years. This depth is exactly where AI needs you. The AI generates the insights, but you know which insights actually matter. Then you've got your horizontal bar, which is your breadth. This represents collaboration, AI fluency, and adaptability. This horizontal breadth is what makes your deep vertical expertise accessible and scalable to everyone else around you.
When you successfully build that T-shape, you unlock what organizations are going to pay an absolute premium for moving forward. Let's walk through these 4 deeply human capabilities. First up is contextual judgment. That's looking at a beautifully formatted AI output and knowing what's actually right for your specific team right now. Next is trust architecture. Because while an AI can easily draft a really polite apology email to a client, it absolutely cannot do the actual relationship mending work behind it. Then we have ethical navigation, having the practical, moral courage to look at a highly efficient AI solution and ask, okay, but should we do this, even if we can? And finally, adaptive leadership, the ability to create psychological safety for a real team of humans navigating uncertainty. Every single one of these requires a present, experienced, and completely accountable human being.
So how defensible is your current role? Let's take a quick second for a 3-layer career audit. Look at layer 1, execution. These are your process-driven, highly repeatable tasks. I want you to ask yourself directly right now, could a well-prompted AI do this if I just gave it the right inputs? If the answer is yes, this part of your job is the most at risk. Layer 2 is interpretation. This is adding context to those AI outputs. Now this is partially defensible, because you are adding specific meaning, but as models get smarter, they're definitely going to eat into this layer 2. Which is exactly why your ultimate goal is layer 3, judgment. These are the complex decisions needing trust, empathy, and accountability. As a professional, you want to actively push as much of your daily work into layer 3 as possible, while actually enthusiastically letting AI take over layer 1.
Knowing all that, here are 3 compounding assets you can focus on building starting today to stay relentlessly relevant. First, deepen before you broaden. You want to become the undeniable go-to person for genuinely hard, messy problems in your specific domain. Second, build visible judgment. Speak up in meetings, write down your thoughts, share your perspective. You have got to cultivate a public track record of good decision-making that an AI simply cannot replicate. And third, invest in relationships that span boundaries. Connect the technical teams with the human teams. Because here's the secret. As raw AI capability equalizes technical execution for everyone, the only true differentiators left will be who you know and how much they trust your judgment. Ultimately, the reality we all just have to accept and embrace is this. AI will master tools faster than any human ever could. Your edge is not in the specific software tools you know. It is in the judgment, the context, and the trust that only years of human presence can build. The value isn't miraculously disappearing from our careers at all. It's just shifting. It's being actively redistributed away from mechanical execution and straight towards our deep humanity. So I want to leave you with one final hard question to ask yourself the very next time you sit down to work. Look at the task in front of you and ask, if this decision goes wrong, is there a human who owns it? Be that human. Step into that accountability, because that right there is your indispensable value in the age of AI. Stay deep, stay human, and keep building what is absolutely irreplaceable.